Good morning, Dara.
Hey,
I see a coat in the background.
yep, it's finished.
Yay!
Whoa.
Do a show and tell. I love that color.
So
I'll be right back.
Hold on, Penny's coming right back.
yeah, Penny will appreciate this when she comes back. I did change my plan for my buttons. I think it was at a different meeting. I was sharing that I had some beautiful stone buttons that I was going to use that are totally not machine washable and dryable. And they were just perfect for this. They had some orange, they had some brown. I've had them in my stash forever. And then I was thinking, well, I'll just take them off when I need to wash it and then put them back on. But this is a coat that I will throw in my car and wear over and over and over again, and it will need to be washed fairly often. So after a long discussion, I found I had these nice designer buttons I had bought at Fabric Mart one time that are kind of a square toggle.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
So I use those instead. But
Gosh, that's beautiful.
thank you. And there was a whole discussion about
how
what lining to use, and I found that I had this orange that was perfect.
That's
There's
fun.
only one issue with this jacket. I put a little strip of green piping here because I didn't like the transition from brown to orange on the facing. And now it's caused a little problem at the bottom where it doesn't like to lay flat. Like this, I get like a little,
Little
this
dimple
bottom
there.
line won't lay flat. And I've had this issue with jackets before. When you trim the bottom, it just draws your eye to the fact that things aren't always going to lay flat. A lot of times when you make a coat or a jacket, you'll never see that if it's all one color.
Right.
But then when you've trimmed it, you see it. So I think I might have to open it up and take this out up maybe an inch or two.
Or did you clip the piping when you put it in? Okay. I was going to say that might be the problem. Okay.
It doesn't do it anywhere else except at the bottom. And I put the whole thing in together and then had to take it apart because I could see the line of not the color, but it just doesn't have much body to it. And I could see where on the back it was making a little bit of a lump. So I had to go in and just grade away completely the seam allowance because it was,
Yeah.
the facing is interfaced. There was just too much going on there and it was making a line. But now I fixed that. So, and I always add these little hanging loops on the back of the neck because this particular jacket, even though it seems like it's got a lot of structure to it, when I hang it over a hook in, a doctor's office or a restaurant or someplace, it often winds up on the floor. So
What's the fabric on that?
this is water
Oh,
resistant
that's right.
polyester that I got from Mood. So it is kind of warm. I've worn it already. It is a little warm because it doesn't breathe. But I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it'll do the job when you need it to, it sounds like.
Yeah. When I pieced in all of this, instead of making it another piece of trim on top, I changed every piece of the pattern so that I could sew it on and have it be integrated instead of a layer on top. So
That's absolutely beautiful.
thank you.
Well, you work
I
fast.
just need to go in the car.
So you work fast, I must say. I've just cut mine out.
Well, and the one thing I did do, Andrea and I were discussing one time about when you make a lining on a bag and the whole thing is inside out, like you've completed the entire thing, and then you turn it through a pocket that you've put on the bag. And my light bulb went off my head and I said, why couldn't I do that on a jacket? Absolutely can do that on a jacket. So I made a little covered welt pocket. And then I was able to just sew it shut on the machine, no hand sewing. So always my favorite when there's no hand sewing in a project.
I usually do that. It's called bagging a jacket, and I usually do it through the sleeve lining.
That's what I've always done. I either do it through
Yeah.
the sleeve lining or I do it through like a section at the bottom of the side seam. But this just required zero thought about any of that. And I wanted another pocket on the inside on the lining anyway. So it's a huge pocket. I can put my phone in it. The pattern was already seamed there. And my original thought was I could do it with an invisible zipper, but then I couldn't figure out how to do the ends of the invisible zipper. I just was
Oh, I
like
see
drawing
what
a
you're
blank.
saying. Mhm.
So in the end, I just made, you know, a little opening and did a double welt to cover because I did not have an orange zipper. I only had a white zipper.
Yeah, you'd almost have to cut that area into two and lengthen to add seam allowances on each end. And then there'd be another seam on each side, and that'd be a little more complicated than what you've done.
Well, there is a seam here, which
Oh,
was,
is
that
there?
was
I
my,
can't see it. Okay.
yeah, that's my original thought. There's a seam there that I could just put an invisible zipper in that seam. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to do the zipper end of it. The tail end, no problem, but the zipper end, I couldn't quite get my head around
I'll do it
that.
later.
And then I just got tired of trying to figure it out and just did a regular welt opening, because that I knew how to do.
It's gorgeous.
It varies.
Thank you.
So,
So I'm
now-
very happy with it.
so are you going to do a second one?
I haven't figured out what second one to do yet, though.
Good morning, Jean.
Good morning. First time here, so I wasn't quite sure what you're doing. Are you doing a pattern that everybody's doing the same pattern or what?
It's a themed
Okay.
theme session, so everybody's doing jackets this month or attempting it, or still, in my case, looking for fabric. I was
Well, you-
talking to Penny earlier before everybody came on, and we were talking about the price of fabrics going up. I was looking for some red wool, medium weight, and black. And the only thing, nothing locally, of course. So I looked
Right.
online, and anything from $45 to $82 a yard. Choke. And I
Yeah.
can't do, we'll wear it, what, 4 times a year, maybe? If we're
Well, especially here, my daughter lives in Buffalo, so I always like to look when I'm there because the fabric stores, of course, are entirely different than here, more apt to find some nice wools. But you're right, price has gone way up. And a couple of years ago, I did some wet felting, a real pretty piece that has kind of reds and purples in it. And I was looking for a purple felted wool that I could have as a jacket and use that as a collar. But again, I could never find it. So still
Yeah.
looking. Yeah.
I was online this morning, Promenade Fabrics. I don't know how they got my email. And I just went, I said, well, let me peruse this. And you're absolutely right, Ramona. The prices of the wool. Oh my gosh, and I live in a cold climate, and I'm thinking, that's really pushing it, because for a coat or a jacket, you're gonna need, 2, 3, 4 yards, depending on
Right.
what you're making.
plus all the
Yeah.
lining and notions and everything else
Right.
to go with it. And I just couldn't justify $200 for a coat that I might, or it's actually a jacket that I might wear maybe 4 to 6 times.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a lot.
yeah, especially
Yeah.
here. Jean, you're in Maryland, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of warm too, so yeah.
But in the
it's-
wintertime, it can get really cold here. So, I mean, we're in coats, gloves,
Oh, you do?
mufflers and all that. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
uh-huh.
okay, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
realize you
it's
got that
cold.
cold.
Oh, yeah, we get snow the whole 9 yards, so.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm going to
Well-
visit Jean.
And not
I
this
love the
Jean.
snow.
And not this Jean. Yes, as a matter of fact, I also missed the fall. So we were trying to arrange a short visit to Buffalo, to the Northeast in October. But my husband just re-injured his shoulder, so I don't know if that'll come to pass or not. But I miss it in the fall and the winter. I do. I'm not sure I could go back and live in it again, but
Oh, I
Yeah.
could
Let's go
easily.
visit.
yeah, yeah.
Well, so since I didn't find wool that was within my price range that I thought would work, I started looking. Years ago, I had a Pebble crepe jacket that was 98 poly, 2% spandex. So I started looking at those fabrics. Some of them call them bubble
Thanks.
crepe, I discovered. Some it's Pebble crepe.
Oh,
But even that's
Thanks.
$20 plus a yard,
yeah,
Remember when we could get it for $388?
yeah. Yeah.
No more.
Yeah, so probably dating ourselves. Yeah, that's true. But I also think I'm afraid to cut into it unless I know it's a pattern that fits well. So, to spend the time and the money on something that you're not sure you're going to like or will fit or whatever at the end is hard too. So, yeah,
Yeah.
another thing to consider.
So this is
sure.
the time I wish I had a stash. I've never really had a stash. So this is the time I kind of wish I had a stash.
Well,
Ramona,
Mine's in there in that closet.
even the quilting cottons, they're showing, up to $15 a yard. And it's gotta be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful if I'm gonna pay that amount.
right.
And I usually don't.
Yeah, we were talking, Penny and I were talking earlier. I was reading an article a couple days ago where those big shipping containers that they put on boats to get from China or wherever over here used to be $2,500 per container. Now it's $10,000 to $15,000 per container for these companies to ship. So it's no wonder our prices have gone
Right.
up.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Somebody's got to bear that cost increase.
And
Yeah.
it's not going to be the manufacturers, that's for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah, right. So,
I don't know what's going to happen. Might have to go
Ramona,
back to the thrift stores.
yes, right. Ramona, I'm not so sure having a stash is good because before I moved to a condo, I had a pretty good stash. But when I went to move and really sorted through that, I thought there were things I don't like anymore, or I wouldn't use, or whatever. And I ended up getting rid of a lot. I also used to belong to a sewing group, and there was a woman that had no stash whatsoever. She bought what she wanted for a project she wanted, went on. Well, everyone else was so aghast about that somebody had the idea that we should all chip in and buy her a stash. I'm not sure that was a good idea because first of all, her idea of a stash and ours was probably different. But also, I think she liked what she had, the arrangement she made. But,
Yeah, and that's pretty
It
much what
is.
I do. I buy it when I need it.
Right.
It is really nice to bring it home from the store and just make it and be done with it.
Right.
Not have any of the managing of it, but I just buy more than I need, so it always
Yeah.
accumulates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, and sometimes you see an ideal piece of fabric, but you're not quite sure what you're going to do with it. So then you think you better buy enough. Well, maybe you have too much.
Right.
And I've made that mistake. I thought, oh, well, I only need this much. I don't want any left over because what's left over won't be enough to make anything. So then I've often cut myself too short and been mad. So
That's what's called a design opportunity, is that you have to force yourself to do something creative.
that's right. So different front, different sleeves, different whatever. So for sure. So anyway, I'm not sure what bubble crepe is. I got to look that up.
It's
So,
just a textured crepe. It's got it's not ridges, but it's a little textured. How would you describe it, Dara?
I mean, we used to just call it crepe. I mean,
Okay.
crepe always has a surface texture. I
right.
think they're just calling it bubble because that's something that people can conceptualize and see. It's like little tiny bubbles. It's just the way the surface of, and
Right.
I think it is exactly what we used to call pebble crepe. I think it's the
So-
same thing.
Yeah. It's just a descriptor then. Yeah.
And it's hard to tell it online when you look at the pictures because they compress those pictures so much. It really doesn't give, even when it's blown up, it's hard to tell. But I loved that jacket. I wore that jacket all the time. Even though it was polyester, it was really comfortable.
And were you wearing it in cold climate or here when you were in Tucson?
Tucson,
Yeah.
but it
Makes
was
it-
mainly, indoors, air conditioning. So
Sure. Yeah. It's just, I've done that before. I've made jackets and then I probably can wear them 4 times. And I think, why did I do that? But however, I have to say, I'm more attracted to winter clothing from when I lived in the Northeast. I like sweaters and I like jackets and wools and coats and all that sort of thing. But, yeah.
yeah, out here it's not.
Forever to lose that.
What, Beverly?
Takes forever to lose that, that liking, that feeling. Because I'm from Canada and I spent 5 years in New York City and then I'm down here in Florida. And
Oh, yeah.
I look at things, I'm thinking, when will I wear that?
Right. Or how many
When I
times have you
first
worn
moved
it in
to Florida-
Perspire? What?
When I first moved to Florida, we wore coats. most of the year. That was 71, but it's been getting warmer and warmer ever since.
Right, right. Oh,
You
so
know,
you've been in
like-
Florida a long time then?
Yeah.
Yes, I've been living in Florida since 1971.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Then I'm the opposite. The longer I live in a warmer climate, the colder I am in what people here consider to be normal, comfortable weather. So I'm wearing a parka and everybody else is still in shirt sleeves.
Where are you,
That's-
Dara? Where are
I'm
you?
in North Carolina.
Oh,
In
okay, all
Florida,
right.
I see people wearing heavy coats and I'm in a sweatshirt. You know, it's because if they're native Floridians, they're cold. And I'm
Yep.
thinking, you're nuts.
Well, you know, I'm
Well-
more apt to be cold here than in Buffalo. And I don't know if it's a mindset or if that I prepare more for layered look and warmer clothing, but I'm truly more uncomfortable here when it's a little cold than in Buffalo when it's cold.
But it's because we don't have the humidity during the winter time that they do back there.
Yeah, that's gotta be it,
And
right?
I mean, we're older too. When I was young, I hardly ever wore a coat. I lived in, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, outside in the wintertime. I would grab a parka, but I
Right.
didn't feel like I needed it. And now I feel like I need it. Like it's 50
Right.
degrees. Let me get my winter coat out.
Yes, right. Yeah, I think that does happen. I think our blood gets thin or something. So anyway, yeah, in fact, when my husband came ahead of us and we moved here and it was like March, and I said to him, well, what are people wearing? And he said, down jackets. And I said, what are you wearing? And he said, a shirt. So, yeah, you do
know,
get used to it.
I think they're the fashions for the colder climes. I think it's more fashionable. I think I'm
I
real
agree.
casual in the summer. You know, when you
Yeah.
make that jacket, that Chanel jacket or whatever, but you're not probably going to wear that when you go to the beach. So
Right.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, we always kind of laugh because, in fact, my husband gave me a card to this effect one time, is that I'm a more formal person than he is. So I always say, whenever we go out, I look like I'm going to theater. He looks like he's going to the beach, even if we're going to the movies. So, it's, and I've been known to wear things that I know are too warm for the weather, but by gum, I'm going to wear it. And then I sweat. So.
Now, where are you located, Jean?
Well, with
Phoenix,
air conditioning
yeah.
now,
Ramona and I are both in Phoenix, different ends of the city, but Phoenix. So
Phoenix?
it's pretty, yeah, but it's pretty hot. My daughter complains about Buffalo. When we lived in Buffalo, nobody had air conditioning or even cared. Well, now it's so humid so much of the year and so hot. When they get up to around 90 and 90% humidity, I think they're worse off than we are. So.
we
But
are,
I can
'cause
remember
that's what
being
it
a
is here
kid
today. Yeah.
and just being so miserably uncomfortable in the summertime. There were those days when, we didn't have air conditioning and
Right.
everybody had a
didn't
box fan in the window and
Yep.
it was pretty miserable. We would go for a ride because that was the only time you would cool off. I think the younger people now are just soft. They just have no concept of what that is like. They've never
Yeah.
done it.
That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
That was
we
in
had that box-
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had that box fan too. We used to put it in the attic and open the basement window, and it would kind of pull the air up through the house, and it was comfortable. But not to say, I think it really is hotter and more humid there. It's nastier. My daughter lives in a turn of the century Victorian house. There's no way they're going to have central air. So they try to create these things per room, Actually, it's a lovely house, but I wouldn't want it. My husband calls it a maintenance nightmare. So anyway, yeah.
Well, I
When I
know
was
it's gonna be hot here today. I think the 90 degrees with the high humidity. So I'm staying in. But like you said, when you were younger, you just didn't even think about it. I mean, my parents had the box fan in their bedroom and we didn't go in there. So they were the cool ones. And we were just in our rooms with the windows open. But
Sure.
now, I mean, here they close schools that don't have air conditioning if it's too hot.
Mm.
And I used to think we would sit in hot classrooms with the windows open, and the
Right.
teacher would say, be quiet or be still or whatever she said, and you did that, and you didn't even think about the heat.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah.
I think it's just I think it's just warmer now.
Overall, yeah, I think you're right. So anyway. Well, if you're talking about jackets and it doesn't have to be something that you made right now, I do have a couple that I, could show from the past, but I gotta unplug and go get them because I didn't
Okay.
know what it was gonna be about. Just a minute.
But since I've started attending these sessions, I've discovered that I'm more creative with my sewing. Before I used to just do the pattern, what it said. You buy enough fabric for the whole thing, but after this, I'm doing some surprises on this jacket that I'm making. So I'm thank you, ladies.
Good for you.
And I think Dara has really, put the bee in my bonnet, as they said, because she's got all of those, boxes and different colors. And I said, oh yeah, I can do that.
Ooh.
And that fabric, I think I showed you guys. Oh, okay. Showed you guys a while back. That does nothing for me. It needs some color.
Beverly, that's gorgeous.
Oh, that is.
Step back a little bit so we can see the overall thing, please.
Oh, nice. Yes. Oh, that's pretty. Did you just do that, Beverly?
No, I've had it for a while, done for a while.
Oh, that's pretty. Is that quilted?
The arms are double needled.
Oh, okay. So you
What
used a
does that
twin
mean?
needle?
Wow.
Twin needle, you
Oh.
mean?
Twin needle, yes.
Uh-huh, great,
And they're cross stitched, they're cross stitched.
right.
And this is pin tucking.
Oh, yeah. Can you show that up a little closer? The pin tucking? Up a little. Oh, yeah. The pin tucking is below the camera there a little bit.
Yeah.
So the pin
Right.
tucking is the sleeves.
Oh, okay.
But I thought you had
So it
pin
gives it
tucking down the
texture.
front too. Okay, all right.
The
So,
pin
and
weaving.
do you have batting in between those layers in the sleeves?
No,
Do you have
Okay.
couching?
it's lined and
Very
it's
nice.
backed with interfacing, but it's not
Okay.
that.
Is that
So it-
bottom front couched? Are there
Yeah, it looks
yarns
like it.
couched?
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
the
move this back so I can get,
Right. The right front, is that couched? Right front, where that,
this
well,
one,
not the sleeve, the front of the jacket, just by the zipper.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh,
How
that's
long did
pretty.
it take you to do that?
Forever.
Yeah, but they're keepers forever too. Did you do a piece at a time and then piece the whole garment, or did you piece it and then do the texturing and whatever?
Both.
Oh, okay, all right. Very
Now, do
pretty.
you have
It
piping
was
around
piece-
that? Is that piping
This was
around the
piece.
edges?
And we made a big piece, this here was a big piece. And we made it and then we sewed it in.
I see. Is that got a zipper in it?
Yeah,
No.
that was my question. No. Oh, okay.
No zipper, or yes?
And then there's the back.
Very pretty. Yes, I could see why it took you forever.
Was that a
Mhm.
class
Got
that you
there.
took?
Well, I work with Magic Fit Patterns and this is just showing off the pattern pieces and sewing together.
What? Oh, how do I do that?
Really nice.
And the beautiful thing with this is the fact that I
How
get
do
a
I do
pattern
that? I don't want to lose it.
and I can do anything I want to it. And this is one of the extreme ones I've done.
Did
I
you say
didn't-
magic
I had
patterns?
a friend of mine that was just learning how to sew and she was learning how to do all this stuff. So she was doing this for me. I don't know if I could have come up with all this creativity that she did.
I
As
took
you
a
said.
class
This was
class
her, like
and
this
did
was
all of those
the
things.
the piece at the back here
Okay.
was the half a frying pan. The lid from half a frying pan.
Neat.
You see the circle
Yeah.
there?
Sure.
And that was the lid from half a frying pan. And then we just did these, up this way.
Sure. Can somebody help me? I got small pictures and I'd like them bigger so that I can see things like the jacket bigger, but I don't quite know where to go on here.
Go to the view thing and then probably put on the speaker view because the
Oh.
person that's showing it is speaking, so
Oh,
they'll
okay.
be bigger.
Well, actually, I didn't touch anything, but somebody might have helped me because all of a sudden I have
I
Beverly
did.
at full screen. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
spotlighting.
Oh,
Thank you
okay.
for reminding
Okay.
me.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, okay. That's much better. Yep.
And this was just couched and doing different things with it. So
Is that couched yarn? What's on there? Right. Is that yarn?
no, it's actually reverse yarn. The, you know, you sew it from the backside,
Okay. Oh, bobbin work like?
bobbin work. Yes,
Yes. Okay. All right. But it's yarn.
yes.
Wow. You got a lot of things going there, but it doesn't look too busy. It's very pretty.
Is that
Yeah.
is that ribbon or lame or what kind of fabric did you use up top and on the back?
We used some lame. And there's a place in Miami I went and bought the this blue, and it has the same matching pink that I made for the
Oh,
line.
okay, for the lining.
Oh, yeah.
And we bought 4 yards of each. So thinking we'd do something with it. The pants are made out of the blue. Pants don't fit me anymore, but
Right.
the jacket fits.
So did you start with that fabric and then pick the colors out of that to go with the rest of the
Yes,
yardage? Yeah. Yeah, pretty.
we've got
Very
gold
pretty.
lame and pink lame.
Yeah, very pretty.
And we've got
Yeah.
burgundy, that's Kona Fabrics. And when we washed it, this is what actually happened to the Kona fabric. When we washed it, it just crunkled up like this. So we just put it down on top of a piece of interfacing and pressed it down flat.
Oh, to add more texture. Right.
Yes.
Great.
Now, there was a quilt shop here in the area, it's since closed. They offered a class on a quilted jacket, and all of the things that she has in her jacket, we did a little bit of that in each thing because it was the pin tucks and the things she had in the arm and the swirly things. And you really learned a lot for, you know, your future jackets.
Mm.
Mm.
But it all went in one jacket, Jean?
Mhm.
All one in one jacket. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I'll
good.
bring it next week and show you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'm
yeah.
home. I can go get it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I came out with about 3 jackets, but I'll tell you that after looking at that one, I don't know if I want to show it or not, but anyway, but I could show you. It's funny, I admitted that I was a bit more formal. So this came from a pattern that was really done out of denim and reverse denim, so that it had raw edges and all that sort of thing. Well, of course, I couldn't make it that way. And so let me back up here a bit. Anyway,
Isn't that gorgeous?
it's really just cotton fabrics that I got at Hobby Lobby, as a matter of fact. The first mistake I made when I cut was to have these opposite each other, which look like 2 big things right there. I thought, oh no, that's not good. I need them opposite this way. But anyway, the jacket was turned this way so that it had raw edge down here. It was denim. It was very, very sporty looking. And so anyway, I just put a big snap here. And then on the lining, and then I ended up, because it looked like it needed more than that. So this is an applique here and here, you know, to just add a little bit more interest, you know. But there's nothing special about the jacket. I did have to recreate how I was going to do the bottom because it was all raw edge and whatever. So I had to kind of create a facing, which Ramona, after looking at that from Stitchers Collective, about not having to cut a separate, you know, a facing for the hem. When you do this, just use what you got, the jacket. Well, I probably should have done it then. I don't think I did, but anyway.
That's
So,
pretty.
So it's pretty, I mean, it doesn't have the techniques and that sort of thing in it. I do have one that I use some techniques, though. I was into, after taking Sashiko embroidery at National, hand Sashiko embroidery, I was fascinated with it. But then I became interested too with fabric dyeing and also Sashiko by machine. But I can show you the mistake I made, which you may see yourself as well if I hold it up. This is, okay. Can you see, there's my machine Sashiko right there. See,
Okay.
but the mistake I made is that I should have either gone over it twice or used a heavier thread or something, because it really doesn't show the sasha coat like I'd like. And then afterwards I put on some, because it has kind of an oriental theme, I put on some koi fish, you know, and trying to figure out where to place the koi fish. This is an unusual jacket. You put it together up here, you know, so the whole thing is kind of made, and then you sew the top part together. It's odd the way it's constructed. And then I like pockets. I like function. So I put one somewhere here on the inside. I just made a, wait a minute, where is it? Oh, here. Well, I don't know if you can even see it. Yeah. So I just put a pocket there on the inside for a little function. But anyway, that I like the jacket, but I definitely should have made this heavier. And I just have one more. I was into fabric dyeing, and it was sun dyeing. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. You use solar reactive dyes. And I didn't, of course, being in Arizona, we have lots of sun. So it meant covering a big board with some plastic, and then putting some yardage out, and then put your paint on whatever color you want, and then put found objects on it. And you leave it out in the sun. Well, usually just about the time in Arizona, just about the time it's dry, you know, your dyes are set and you could clean it up. I mean, another part of the country where you have more humidity, you'd have to leave it longer. Anyway, I had no idea what I was going to do with this yardage. So I decided to put it in a jacket, but it's that. So
Ooh.
these were just things I found around the yard. And then these little dots right here are salt, coarse salt, which takes it up a little bit different way. This jacket was from, I can't remember her name. She's a designer from Florida, and she has, she's Oriental. I think she's Japanese. And she has, I have several of her books. One was Art to Wear with Asian Flair. That's it. Anyway, I didn't have quite enough yardage, so I had to kind of create. And on the front, the colors came out quite vibrant here, and it looked nice. But here it was really washed out, and I thought, what to do with that? So I went over it with some, you know, like thread painting, and then I embroidered some dragonflies on there with gossamer wings, if you can see. Anyway,
That's very clever.
well,
Very
it just
clever.
it made it weighty enough that, because I liked it and I wanted to use it, but you see, otherwise it would be much too light to put in that jacket. So anyway, that was
And is
just,
that a batik on the sleeves and side panels?
no, it's just that it's just plain cotton, which you've probably seen in a variety of colors. See,
Oh, okay.
say,
Oh, yeah.
just yeah, it's just cotton. And
Oh, that's
one that
really
you,
pretty.
but you know, even cotton, it's too hot to wear here most of the time. I could never figure out why people use a short sleeve sweater, because by the time you need a sweater here, you need a sweater with long sleeves and that sort of thing. And but otherwise it's just too hot, you know, and even these lightweight cotton jackets seem too hot a good deal of the year, you know, so they hang there. But
Yeah.
Here's my
Wow.
jacket that I was talking about.
let me see. Oh, you got similar colors. Oh,
Yeah.
very pretty.
And this was the first jacket I ever made. I took a class, but you know, she taught all of these different techniques, because I'm not a quilter. But and then it has the prairie points.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
what else did she teach us? She taught us the reverse something or other. If you can see,
Whoop,
if you
whoop.
can see this here.
Reverse
Uh,
applique, reverse applique.
That was
it?
something where you turn it. I can't even explain it.
Oh,
But
yeah, I've seen that
sort of turn
technique.
it, yeah. And
You fold, you make little tucks and then you sew over them the other way down.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
Yeah. And because we had to buy some ruler to make this backing thing here.
Oh, yeah.
That's how
And I
those
used
quilt
some of
classes
my-
go.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point. And then I used some of my fancy embroidery stitches with some fancy thread to sort of do it together. But it's heavy. I can wear this in like December because
Jean,
yeah.
That looks like a very expensive Coos jacket. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
It is.
It's really funny. I went over to DC with a friend and we went into this exclusive shop and it was like wearable art and things were selling for thousands of dollars. So my girlfriend said, oh, well, you can make something for the shop. I said, are you kidding me? It took me forever to do this. And
But
then she said, well, maybe you could make me one. And we're like sisters. I said, absolutely not.
Yes, yes. Actually, you could probably make it for, you could probably sell it for a lot of money, but that would take the fun out of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because the woman did say that she would, if I brought a jacket in, she would sell it anywhere from $600 to $800. But
Mhm.
you know, I was working a real job then, and I was like, oh, absolutely not. So that's my
Yeah.
first jacket.
Well, pretty darn good for a first jacket, I'd say. Yeah.
So my next attempt is I'm going to try to make a long quilted coat like this, but that might take 2 or 3 years.
Well, I have
You
a
mean-
jacket too, but I did that for a magazine. Let me go get it.
Jim.
The only problem with this jacket, I used quilting fabric for the lining, and that makes it harder to get into. And I have since learned, you know, you just get some fancy lining like fabric, you know, to sort of give it some pop with the lining, but the fabric for the lining it doesn't work well, and it's not reversible.
I remember Nancy Zeman said, line the sleeves. And that's what I actually did with that first jacket I showed. It's cotton and it's not lined, but I did line the sleeves so I could get in and out of it better.
Yeah, because with the cotton, it's hard to get in and out of.
Right. So I don't stick. Right.
Right. And I think the back is one color, and I think the sleeves are something else, because I mean, it is sort of reversible.
It is reversible?
Yeah, you know, I just realized it is reversible.
Let me see.
It's just with the fabric.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes. Oh, yes. All
I
right.
just realized that. I mean, I did this maybe 10 years ago.
Well, you got a new jacket.
I got a new jacket. That is so funny. But it's a sweatshirt. And after I've made a few more of these, I don't use a sweatshirt now. I use a pattern and just cut the pattern out of the sweatshirt fabric. Because it really, to me, it doesn't fit as well as it should. You know, it doesn't have the tailoring of a jacket.
If you're going to put all that work into it, it should fit.
And it fits like a sweatshirt, and it should fit more like a, you know, a coat or a jacket. And after I got it together, I said, I'm not taking this apart. You know, I just learned from that one. So I
You
used
just make another one.
well, I
You
did.
just make another one.
I did. And I used the Chanel pattern, which I got to fit, you know, so then I worked that way. But yeah.
We can't hear you.
So the one I did was for Creative Machine Embroidery. And when you do stuff for the magazine, you have to do it in a straight size 6. So obviously it doesn't fit me. But the whole premise was how to do alignment in software. So everything matches exactly all
Beautiful.
the way around
Wow.
Beautiful.
and on the back.
What a shame to do that and not be able to wear it though.
I know, but it's
For
a good
heaven's sake.
show off jacket.
It is, but a size
it-
6, what are they thinking?
I know. Totally lined, obviously.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Right,
So-
what, you know,
What is that fabric?
that's what I
This
was
is a
gonna ask.
linen.
Linen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a corally pink.
Right, right.
So it was fun. I like doing very technical sewing. So
Yeah.
this took me probably 2 weeks to do off and on, because what I did was I scanned in, I actually took a picture of the pattern, scanned it into my software, and then I took the designs that I wanted and laid them out exactly. And then what you do is break it up into pieces for embroidery. And for instance, I did this first because it fit in a 5x7 hoop. That's the other thing. I had to use a 5x7 hoop or 4x4. And then
Next, you're reversed.
yeah. And then I took and moved, I had the whole thing laid out. So this was file 1, file 2, file 3. And then I took and moved the alignment point. Everybody calls it a start point. I call it an alignment point, exactly on that last stitch, and did this section. And then on the third file, moved the alignment point to exactly the bottom of that one. So in
And
the hoop, I could get everything absolutely perfectly lined up, and
Right.
did that
And you
all-
reversed it. You reversed
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And then matched everything exactly straight across
right.
on the front of the jacket.
That's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, my
You know,
goodness,
that sort of
gorgeous.
thing. Yeah, you really want a very plain design of the jacket so that it, you know, shows off. But what is the pattern? Do you remember? Because that's what
No.
I like. I like plain patterns so that you can then get creative with whatever you're going to do on the surface. But yeah, if you think of what it is, let me know.
Okay, it's in the I can pull the magazine and find out.
Looks almost like a bolero jacket or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. But it was fun. Took a lot of time, but it was
Oh
fun.
yeah, yeah.
That's one of those $600 or $700 jackets on the
Mhm.
store.
Oh, at least, yeah,
That's
Yeah.
kind of sewing I like to do.
yeah. Yeah, I like that stuff too, but I like that stuff overall because I also like calligraphy and that sort of thing. And my husband used to go by and watch me do it and say, "Oh, that looks awful." I said, "It's not. It can be peaceful. Get out," you know. So, but it's just, yeah, I like that sort of fussy stuff.
And I like the printed fabrics like you had in your jacket, Jean.
Uh-huh.
I have a piece of linen that I got from Louise Cutting. It's got
Uh-huh.
Paris-y kind of stuff on it.
Oh yeah,
So I'm trying to decide what to do with that. I like that kind of fabric.
yeah. Yeah, I do too. When we went to Paris, as a matter of fact, on a cruise, I made one of those Paris-y jackets, and it sort of fit it fit the trip. It didn't fit me very well. I mean, it fit my body, but it was not who I am. It didn't look good, so I didn't feel comfortable in it. So out it went.
But you were
Sometimes
out
I
of the
feed.
country, so nobody knew. Only
No,
you.
That's true, but you know how you feel in something, you know, and I didn't feel good. Sometimes I feed the goodwill an awful lot. Sometimes it rejects her. I'm having a terrible time right now putting sleeves in a blouse that I've done before, and it's kind of a linen-y like material, but by gum, I'm having a hard time without getting puckers in the top. So right now I got one sleeve in and it's laying there. I keep looking at it and walking by.
Hoping it'll smooth itself out.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
You know,
Or-
like
or,
magic, it's just gonna go like Jeannie the witch. You know,
Right.
on I Dream of Jeannie, you just go snap your fingers and it smooths out right.
Right. Yeah, and that is my name. So maybe it's even spelled the same. So, but anyway, yeah, or like the cobbler, you know, who wakes up in the morning and the shoes are all made.
Are
Maybe
you
that.
putting it in, are you putting it set in or putting it in
Yes.
flat?
No, it's set in, but I think part of my problem is it's one of those blouses. It's a little bit more fitted. So it has all of those adjustments like high round forward shoulder, broad back, blah, blah, blah. By the time I finish the jacket, you know, and hopefully made the modifications of whatever I need on the sleeve. I don't think the sleeve is right, to tell you the truth. It's got too high a cap, you know, to go in that sleeve. So anyway, if I hadn't had
Trim
luck
the cap
before.
off just a tad. Just take about a quarter of an inch off the top.
That's funny you say that because that's exactly what I did. That's how I got that one sleeve in. But then I went in the bathroom to try it on thinking, okay, now it might be restrictive. It really wasn't. It looked all right. But I really had to cut at least a quarter of an inch off the top of that cap. So anyway, and I have a,
Sometimes they make
huh?
the sleeve cap too wide. And if you keep the top, you know, the point at the top the same, but trim the inside a bit like this, you'll get it to fit in a whole lot better.
okay, explain that to me again. What inside, where? What are you,
Okay.
you're talking about from
Take
the
sleeve
dots?
cap is going
Yes.
like this.
Right.
leave the top of the sleeve cap where it is.
Oh, that's what I cut off.
And then trim from the notch at the top to the second, to the notch underneath the arm on front and back, and trim that just a quarter of an inch away. You use a French curve ruler on it. and
Right.
So it curves more in the center part than you probably have thinner arms than what the pattern's used to.
I do. Yeah.
And so you can take that out of there and it'll still fit your arm.
Okay. Well, actually, I didn't
Keeps
know
the
enough to
top-
do that.
yeah,
So
keeps the
I
top
took it off
going.
the top and I thought, however, help me figure this out because I felt like I was really stressing my gray matter. I was trying to remember from the class I took with a forward shoulder, you still want to match your top, but the underarm seam won't match. And what they said was you can get it to match, but it's a whole lot more to deal with. So better to just say, nobody's going to look under your arm anyway. If it doesn't match up, it doesn't match up. Okay, so I can get happy with that, but then do I need to move that? What I couldn't remember from that class, do I need to move that center forward dot on the sleeve forward to match the forward shoulder of the pattern of the blouse?
Yes, you do.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I thought, well, it seems to me I do need to do that. And then it's going to make the underarm seam go up to the back a half an inch, correct?
No, it shouldn't. If you've added to the back and taken away from the front for the forward
Yes.
shoulder,
Which I did.
the underarm should stay where it is.
All right. I thought they said it would not match because what I remember is saying was, who cares? Nobody's going to look under your arm. But okay, but you're all right. You're telling me you should.
If you added, like I add 3/8 of an inch to the back
Okay.
and I take 3/8 of an inch off the front.
Okay. So
I cut the sleeve down.
Right. Yeah, mine's a
And
half
so-
inch.
And so then, and if you take about 2 or 3 inches on either side of the center notch
Yeah.
and do a B triangle and
Uh-huh.
shift that just to forward about 1/4 of an inch.
Okay, because my forward shoulder, you said yours is 3/8, mine's a half. So I,
Doesn't
I'm
matter. I mean, it's the same,
right. The principle's the same.
but it's
right.
one of these things when if you don't do it, you end up choking yourself because your sleeve's wrong when you're moving your arms.
Yes, I did have somebody say, do you find yourself in a ready-made garment always going like this? And I thought, yes. So, yeah, that's it. Because once in a while, I'm tempted to not do it and see what happens, but I know.
Mhm. But you see, if you take, I wish I had a sketch pad here, but I don't. But if you take the, the sleeve cap going like this,
Right.
and you can trim just a tad off of the parts here and here, not the top.
Okay.
And then if you take a B cut, down a couple of inches down and
Uh-huh.
shift the notch on the front, to the front a bit, and then it'll take, no, you shift it. No, the back is longer than the front. So
Right.
you shift the notch to the back.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you have to do all that too, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. The pattern I'm doing is a blouse and I like the pattern because it actually automatically comes up higher on my neck and the back and I don't really have to add that high round in there. I did add it at first because I was told I had a high round and it's too much. Then I have a big pleat in the back, a big pucker right at the back of the neck because it's too much fabric in there. So anyway, I have a feeling by the time I finish it, I'm going to hate it, not wear it, but we'll see.
Hi, Doreen.
Where is she?
She's,
The ironing board, it looks like,
yeah,
or cutting table.
she doesn't have her, she's not unmuted.
I got totally screwed up with the time.
That's okay.
Totally screwed up. Yep. So I'm here now.
We're glad.
Thank
You
you.
working on a jacket, Doreen?
No, I'm just right now. I'm gonna finish up on the dress that I was talking on the previous session that we were just in. But what I was thinking, I'm not a jacket person, but I think what I might do instead, I had this thought was getting, maybe some type of a jacket pattern, but do a strong knit.
That's the same thing I'm thinking. You see that, you see that in like all the catalogs this fall, all the
Right.
like higher price ladies wear junk that comes through my mail. They're doing structured jackets in
But
knits.
with a knit. I'm not gonna wear a jacket. The jackets, I mean, I'm not in the workplace right now, but if I were back there, there pretty much is, I don't know that there were women wearing jackets. They just don't wear jackets, at least, I mean, I never saw them. I saw them maybe in the insurance industry, that type of thing. Something very conservative like that, but other than that, in general, jackets weren't worn, but like what I'm thinking is to have just something nice to have on. I guess my mind hasn't gone into winter yet. Maybe I don't want to, but I mean, for fall, perfect. I mean, I'm thinking if you have what I'm going towards is if you have a coat on, it's not going to be really wearable underneath the coat because it's so thick. I'm just trying to think it through a little bit. But right now,
Where do you live?
I live in Minnesota.
Oh, cold. Okay.
And it's just right now we're going to be hitting our Indian summer before too long. Just the last couple of days, yesterday it was rainy and icky, and right now it's a time of year where nobody wants to live here. There's some times there's some times around here that we just go, oh, people would pay to be here. This is just perfect weather, and that will come up in a little bit of time here. We'll hit the beautiful part of we'll hit fall, and it's going to be beautiful for a month or something like that. It just depends on how long. I've had fall where I've got all these wonderful clothes to wear, and I barely get to wear them because all of a sudden fall gets cut off, and it gets just too cold. So it's not really fair, but but still, go ahead.
I'm thinking more in terms of like, how you wear a hoodie or a
Yeah.
sweatshirt when
Yeah.
it's really cold. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of that knit jacket as that layer. Like maybe I have a short sleeve t-shirt or a tank on under it.
Oh, it's almost a substitute for that.
Yeah. I mean, just a little bit more. I mean, because my life, I don't need a lot of fancy stuff, but I feel a little bit more put together if I have a doctor's appointment or I have to go out somewhere. A jacket just feels better to me because I worked in suits all the time. So I always feel like I'm getting ready to clean out the garage if I don't at least have a collar and closure on it and everything.
I mean,
That's what I'm thinking, but I haven't found a pattern yet that seems suited to it.
well, I mean, when I'm looking through I don't think that's going to be maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it as being a difficult thing because I'm not necessarily going to look for a jacket pattern. You can look for sweater patterns. You can manipulate.
Yeah, if it has a front opening, because I want to do, I like all the detail. I like to make things out of a plain fabric and then put a ton of detail on it. So I want someplace I can top stitch and maybe have a zipper, an underlap, or, more detail.
Well, still, I mean, I can't imagine that some particular sweater pattern couldn't be that way. I mean, there's such a variety of patterns.
Yeah.
Or
Then it's just getting a stable enough knit that you can.
yes, that's what I haven't gone far enough with as to what I want to do. And, are you for sure thinking lining?
Well, I'd rather not.
Because it's a pain.
I'd rather finish my seams and
Call
because
it
like you were saying, like you get to that point where then you can't put a heavy coat on over it. Like if you've
Right.
done
And,
too much to it.
Mhm.
and if you have the sweater, just a heavy knit sweater that's stable, then you just have to be careful of the collars and stuff, because if it's a heavier knit.
Yeah, so you don't have too much lumpy.
Uh-huh.
Around the neck, yeah. You know, I
Right.
remember a designer saying one time, you can put any fabrics together you choose, as long as you treat them so that they end up having the same hand. You know, so if it means that some you have to line, some you have to interface or whatever, but you should be able to put anything together. And I've seen it. I've seen, you know, wovens with knits, with whatever. But I could see where you certainly have to know how to treat each one to be able to get them to go together.
When the trick is getting to that wearable garment that you're gonna actually use. I don't want to
Right.
just make something to make it and then hang it in the closet. I have enough of that already.
Yeah,
I'm just I'm diving into a couple of different binders here that, well, okay, there's also taking a hoodie pattern and creating a sweater from it. Okay, there is, okay, even, and now this is just at the top of my head here. Okay, here's a couple of them here. So you can do like that guy. That would be easy to deal with.
mhm. But you have a collar to try to put under a coat would be, right? Would be difficult.
Well, this one has, it still does. Well, the one in here has just a fold over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's one here that has a fold over. I could see the line on it. And then there's also like, that's your
Oh, yeah.
sweater.
Right, I
that-
could see that in a sweater knit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I could more easily see that in a sweater knit than the other one.
I can. Yeah,
Yep.
because you can, I'm thinking of closures right now are you thinking, is anyone thinking of this to be closed up, or is it to be mainly?
I need closures. I don't do very well with like that wrap and that tie. I'm forever sitting on it, pulling it through the belt loops. Like I just don't do well with those. And it's too much bulk around the middle where I don't need it. Like I like more of a, like I'll do a drawstring. Like, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is one I cut out of a
Oh.
catalog. Now you can't really
Oh, yeah.
see it. Just like more structure to it. So then like I'll draw it in at the waist, but like the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
wrap tie at the waist, I can't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
That's too much for my
Here's
shape and my height and everything.
because I mean, that's, I've said it so many times with me, that's my widest part, so not having,
Right,
I've never had a whole lot of, I mean, what I usually do to the ties is I end up by, doing a couple of loopsies around and then tie it in the back. They never get tied, they never end up by being tied in the front because of that. Yeah, there is, I don't have, okay. Cause I've got one that's just one here that's got a binder, just as sweaters and coats. So here's a new look one.
up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And that-
that's kind of simple and you could add details.
Yep, you can do whatever you want with it. So I think that's the direction I'm going for almost guarantee it. That's the direction I'm going. And that is a good thing to be doing right now. I mean, it's an excellent thing. I didn't put much thought into this until I saw Ramona's email, and I go, well, I gotta start thinking about that because it's gonna be a blink and it's gonna be here. Where I'm gonna need that kind of stuff. Because right
I've got all
now,
winter.
huh?
I've got all winter before I have to worry. Like here, this sort of thing I would wear like in December outside over a shirt. Like,
I forget,
it's
oh, you're
not-
North Carolina.
yeah, if it's not snow and ice, it's pretty nice. In between the bad weather, it's nice here.
Yeah.
Are you in the west or the east of North Carolina?
I'm right in the middle, near Raleigh.
Oh, okay. I actually framed some, I did big embroidered tulip from bud to open thing. And then I wanted it framed so that I could change those flowers in the back from time to time. Well, I actually had it framed in that way, but I never did any other flowers, so I never changed it. But it is covered, you know, and I think I can still appreciate, it's a non-glare glass, so I can still see the embroidery, you know, in it. But you're right, wasn't cheap. It was a long time ago. And anyway, here's that thing that, oops, oh wait, I got it on reverse. How can I do this? I need to switch the camera around so I can show you something other than my bathroom. How do I switch the camera around while I'm on here?
Oh, I don't know if you can.
No?
You can. Are you on a
Can you?
tablet or an iPad?
Right.
Oh, there it
There.
is.
That's what I'm trying to show you.
Oh, how pretty.
So my thought, and it's big. So my thought was, well, what the heck? My thought was I would change those flowers up from time to time. Well, I decided not to. But anyway, but I like it, but it was not cheap, you know. But it's protected and I have it, of all things, over a big tub in the bathroom because I was trying to find a place for it, but it fits well there. It looks good. But yeah, protect that, I would say. That's a lot of work in that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, and Doreen, back to our jacket knit. It just occurred to me, it needs to be Ponte. Because that's going to be stable and I'm going to be able to top stitch it a little bit, put a zipper on it. It's going to have enough weight for my needs, but not be too thick or too heavy.
Where do you buy your Ponte? Do you get an order from Nancy's Notions or?
No, I've never ordered from Nancy's Notions. Most of my fabric I get online, I get from Fabric Mart.
Oh,
I
Well, you
don't
know where
about
I'm gonna
that.
go.
Yeah,
gonna
she's
try-
gonna go to, was it JR, LR, SR,
SR.
I actually got some nice Ponte at Joann's, but of course you're limited with colors.
Yeah,
I haven't had good luck with theirs. The expensive stuff is beautiful, but the inexpensive stuff, I find
Is it
fuzz
so?
balls and I don't like.
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah, no, this was pretty good, but it limited colors, you know.
I would think
I
both,
should probably
both
have
fabric
quite a
has,
bit that would come in right now, I would think, for
And this is
fabric.
probably a good color for me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It was great.
both fabric has a lot of that Ponte knit. A
Who
lot of
does?
different
Oh,
colors.
Vogue?
Vogue fabric, yeah.
Vogue fabric. Gina, I think you're the one that mentioned Promenade Fabrics. I never heard of that. What do
had
they
not
have?
Either. I got an
Okay.
email this morning. Everything we were talking about the price of fabric, and everything was so expensive. I mean,
Uh-huh.
40, 80, 100 and something a yard. And then they had a little section where you could buy the ends of bolts, and even that was expensive. But I think it's, more for high fashion stuff. They had a lot of lace, a lot of silk. I mean, real quality fabric. But like you say now, I mean, where am I going? Even if I go to the theater, I mean, I'm not going every day. So, do you want to put that much money in something?
The thing is, even
Right.
even if I'm back at work, I don't need to spend $30 a yard or $40 a yard on fabric. So it just doesn't, it's not needed now, period. You don't need to do that.
Right.
I think the problem is now, like Ramona was saying, because of the times, everything has gone up so much. Because we were
Oh.
even talking about how the quilting fabric had hopped up to $15, $18 a yard.
Yes,
And I think it's just the times that those little sale tables that we used to find. I think
Right.
they may be a thing
they're
of the
still
past.
there, but the sale is not great.
Right,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
stuff
you're
is not
right.
that great, right.
Right,
It's
right.
not- it's
You know,
not
I-
what you want.
I think a lot depends on where you live in the country too. I have found that in Phoenix, everything is more casual. Even if you go to the theater, you will find a few people that dress up, but you also find people in jeans in a very nice theater. You don't see that at all, say in the Northeast, around Boston area, or around where, I was from there. It's just a more formal, setting. I don't know why, but anyway.
I'm ready to sew some cowgirl shirts and jackets with fringe and.
Yeah, that's about it.
If you can afford the theater tickets.
Well, that's
Yes.
true. That is
And
true.
then also, I think they've got onto the fact that everybody's buying at the 20, 30, 40% off. And so they're raising the fabric so that when they put it to the 20, 30, and 40% off, we think it's a wonderful sale.
Right. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely
But
right.
it-
know,
when I was in the workplace, we were in. Something's really loudly, so I don't know who's what, but.
It's me.
Oh, sorry, it gets really loud. It's probably not loud at all on your end, but it gets sorry. Even I was in a law firm. And my attorney and we would just get disgusted because so many of the people, the lawyers were running around in jeans half the time. Because if you don't have client contact, you're by phone, video conferencing, teleconferencing all the time. Once in a while they were we would put a message out saying we're having people in. And so then everybody would have to just dress up casual a little bit, get out of the jean crap. So I'm just getting at, I don't know. I really miss dressing up a bit.
I do too. I'm with you. I do miss that.
Yeah, I do too.
When, even if you're going into like a lawyer's office as a client, like in my head, like these are professional people. I'm going to look more professional when I walk through the door. I don't, it's like that has totally gone away for the people under 40. They don't know anything about it. They don't care anything about it.
Yeah, and if we try to start a movement where we do care and we start dressing up, we're looked at like the oddballs out.
Mhm.
One of my girls works at a technology company, and when they were in the office, they would have dress up Friday.
Yes,
Dress
but
up
we would have
Friday.
dressed down Friday.
Yeah, it was the opposite of casual Friday because every day was casual Friday. So they would have this like dress up, but
That's
they would
funny.
take it to the extreme where they would wear gowns and stuff. Like, it was just like, they're so big on, be an individual, be yourself, whatever you are is your perfect you. So, if you want to wear a sequined evening gown on Dress Up Friday, that's what you do.
When you mentioned working for a law firm, I worked for a law firm too for a while as a consultant, and some people would cook microwave popcorn mid-afternoon. Well, the entire law office smelled like popcorn. So they finally sent out a note saying no microwave popcorn, because if you had somebody coming in and the whole thing smelled like a movie theater, it wasn't a good thing. So anyway.
I mean, I was known as a person dressed up a bit, and I really didn't do much more than say a little bit up casual. I wasn't decked out in suits and all that, but I sewed a lot. I still sewed a lot, and I was gonna wear it. And I didn't think I was going too crazy, but I was kind of known as that fashion in the office. And I was glad to take the role, but I'm going, you guys, it doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much. Yeah, I don't
It's
think
an easy way to get to work in the morning. It's your uniform. You put on your uniform and you go to work.
Right.
my friend was a manager at the place that she was at. She was in more of a higher level role, and she tended to like when we went out shopping. She tended to say, I like the shorter jackets, the short ones, not the real long ones. She had them shorter. That's what she tended to buy all the time. It was so boring. Because
you accessorize when you wear a suit every day. You accessorize. You have
have
like a
to put
wild
more on.
blouse. You have like a chunky necklace.
have some fun with it.
Scarves,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I just thought of a card that my husband gave me for an anniversary some time ago, and he writes a caption on it. Doesn't this just capture us? Anyway, can you?
Oh, So
That's
sad.
cute.
And he says, doesn't this just capture us? And it does. Totally.
Oh, dear.
Anyway,
Okay.
So how many of you are joining us tomorrow for Stitchers Collective? What
I
we're gonna be
am.
doing is a Mylar leaf.
Okay, so we need to get our own
what? So what
Mylar,
is
right?
that?
I'll show you everything. I'm sending the design out after this. I'll be sending it this morning and I'll show you how to do it. So if you want to do it, it takes 15 minutes. It's so simple. I had my son's girls doing it.
Why are we, I'm sorry, is that
But
what is
they're
that?
young, Ramona, they're young.
Do I?
What is that for? How does it fit in?
Oh,
with-
it's a magnet. It's for Stitchers Collective and we're doing one machine embroidery a month.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And I was asked if I thought that we should have a separate machine embroidery group.
Probably.
Sure, right.
I don't do
You
it
know,
at all.
Because
Like
I
the-
don't do it.
No, Ramona, when I went to the Quilt Craft and Sewing Festival and got that Bo Nash stuff I
Mhm.
talked about, they gave
I
us a
got it
few
all.
Mylar sheets. So I'm going to see if I can't use one of those Mylars and do your leaf. But I also now I see that that's very, very open. Can't
Mhm.
you also do a design that has probably as much thread, but really open design? I just bought one from Embroidery Library that has, I think it's ginkgo leaves or something, but it's very lightly digitized.
Yeah, yeah.
So I should be able
Open
to use that.
density. Mhm.
Right. So, okay, I'm hoping to use that under there as well. So, and I suspect then you're going to tell us where you would recommend getting the Mylar,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
took a class through FAF at the dealership, and she got her Mylar at Dollar Tree.
Oh
As
my.
long as it wasn't gonna be a washable, she proposed that it works just as well. She used it on making embroidered cards,
Yeah.
postcards and cards. And
That
it
would be
looked like
good.
it worked just fine, but I've never tried it.
Well, it wouldn't be washable, and so that's fine. But I know when I used to do embroidery over that foam, they were very clear to say don't use craft foam because it's not the same
Right.
as the foam they use, and
Right.
So I wonder if Mylar is the same, but we'll learn tomorrow, right, Ramona?
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Good session.
Okay.
Thank you
Yes.
All
all.
right, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Later. Bye.
Thanks.
Tomorrow. Bye.
Bye-bye.